The Say Something podcast is brought to you by amomentwithmorris.com and blackblueprints.com. That's blackblueprints with a Z.com. I'm Jermaine Morris here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius.
Peace and blessings, family.
Bringing you the Say Something podcast.
Say something, say something, say something.
Where we get together and talk about everything going on out here in the life and the world out here in these streets.
In these cold streets.
Coming at you every week. We're bringing you episode number 47.
Let's go. Let me hear it.
I had to think about this one. I had to fall back and get it. Bringing you that Melvin Blunt.
Melvin Blunt, okay.
If you don't know about Melvin Blunt, he was the Pittsburgh Steelers, Steel Curtain cornerback.
Okay.
4-time Super Bowl champ, 5-time Pro Bowler. Back in like 75, he had the record for most interceptions. He was Dion before there was Dion as a shutdown corner, but he was a cornerback back before they had all the pass interference type rules. So he would cover you like Dion, but he hit you like Ronnie Lott.
That's what it is. Is it Lynch 47 too? The general manager for
John Lynch?
John Lynch?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I go with old Mel Blunt.
We're gonna keep it black.
That's you.
Exactly.
Oh, Melvin Blunt. Yeah, he used to lay the wood to folks out there. Hall of Famer. Shout out wherever you at out here. Melvin Blunt.
Melvin Blunt. Probably smoking a blunt.
Probably. Might be.
Backwood.
I don't know if he's any relation to LeGarrette. Big dude. Hit hard. Might be worth looking into.
Could be.
Might be worth looking into.
For $5. Anything at this matter right now is good.
Yeah. A lot going on out here in the traffic.
Man, it's a traffic jam full of bullshit.
Man, everybody out here doing it for the gram, doing it for the book, doing it for the snap, doing it for the culture.
A lot of silly Negro shit and a lot of white privilege and a whole lot of pedophilia and sexual assault shit going on.
Yeah, we talked last week, we was addressing all the industry accusations where all these execs, these actors, recording, producers, whatever, all getting caught up. Everybody from Charlie Sheen accusations, Russell Simmons, the Weinstein brothers, everybody. Pretty much it's just everybody.
It's airing out.
Everybody at this point.
Industry exposed.
Charlie Rose got busted.
That's a cold game, man.
Ryan Seacrest accusations. They only got old Slick Willie from Arkansas. They only got old William Jefferson Clinton. He got a new accusation out. A lot of folks is out here wilding out here in these streets.
But I think it's like this. Unless there's some real charges and these individuals get scrutinized like a Bill Cosby or a Michael Jackson when all that shit came out, I don't really give a shit. I need to see some charges. I need some
indictments, some court, some lawyer fees.
I want to see careers destroyed. Like literally, because that's what ended up happening with Bill Cosby. I want to see sitcoms, movies, and records being taken out of stores or being taken out of the iTunes, catalog. Because at the end of the day, when Bill Cosby and, the shit hit the fan with him, you had them going through stripping. Now, of course, they reinstated some of the things.
They started slowly bringing it back.
Yeah, Bill Cosby's The Cosby Show. But in the reality of it all, the thing that he got was almost as if Hollywood didn't have these secrets. And you and I both know from just understanding how things go, right? Being in the industry for the time that we were. Yeah. And of course it wasn't to the level of this.
Yeah.
But it was enough to know if it's this way and we ain't even got to the highlight in the big time, I could imagine to the big time in the highlight when we get there.
Yeah, because I think there needs to be more with all these accusations coming out and all these different people who made money off of, just exploiting folks, doing all this wrong. There needs to be more Cosby, less R. Kelly. And what I mean by is they need to come for these folks' careers and come for their neck like they did Cosby, not, R. Kelly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's some dudes out there because they ruined Bill. Because he may not ever serve, he's got to go back to court, but he may not ever serve a minute in jail.
Yeah, but that's what they wanted to do.
But I'm saying he may not ever serve a minute in jail, but Bill Cosby is like OJ in the first trial.
Yeah.
even if he doesn't serve a minute in jail, he's going to be labeled as a rapist long after he's in the grave.
He's not here.
Like Arquette, like OJ's a murderer.
Yeah.
Regardless of if he ever went to minute.
He's not Huxtable. He's not Dr. Huxtable.
No. And there's a lot of these folks who are getting these accusations who are just taking it on the chin right now. They're waiting for the season to change.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when finally Lance Armstrong came clean.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe he went on Oprah.
Talked about I was doping.
I'm doping after, years, decades of allegations. And he almost just moved into the darkness, and you haven't heard from him. Yeah, also reminds me of Mark McGwire, right? Yeah. When Mark McGwire finally came out, I've been, that summer of baseball or whatever the hell they call it.
Boys of Summer.
The Boys of Summer with me and Sammy Socha. I was on bullshit. But he was able to get out the spotlight, get a job. But Barry Bonds is just now being able to be around baseball and get a job himself.
Well, something that's interesting about that is Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer Joe Morgan, just came out and wrote a letter really addressing Major League Baseball about saying any player who's had the run-in with steroids, if you tested dirty for steroids, that their name should not even be put up on the ballot for the Hall of Fame inductees. So he's not talking about go after the ones that we already let in, but more so he's talking to Alex Rodriguez, he's talking to Ortiz, he's talking to anybody who's tested dirty. Don't even put their name up. Like, we ain't even going to address them in any way, shape. Now, I respect the fact that what he was talking about. Now, it's a little late, but to me, I think that if you tested dirty for steroids, that means whatever stats you got, we'll go ahead and leave those. But the Hall of Fame is off limits to you. That's like, you can't be valedictorian if you got caught cheating on a test. I'm not going to take back your GPA, but this is something that this is just off limits to you. I can respect that.
Life is three things: faking it, taking it, and making it. You got to figure out which one of those threes you're going to do.
Okay.
And some of us do all three.
Okay.
If you're talented enough, right? So as these baseball players faked it, as we talk about what the great Hank Aaron has said, David Ortiz, I don't think ever really got caught. I think there was allegations of him. I don't think he ever got suspended. But that's neither here or there, because at the end of the day, you being affiliated with it, to me, is just kind of like, okay, I don't, where there's smoke, there's fire. The one thing that's funny about this whole particular situation with baseball that's so tricky, it's, yes, they should do the right thing and really stand on the morals that they want to kind of overtly put on folks and say, this is baseball, this is our criteria, and this is the great American pastime, right? But think about how much money they would lose. Notice how when the home runs went down, that they were starting to lose money. Then all of a sudden, this past year, the home runs.
Aaron Judge, American League Rookie of the Year.
Hey, bro, like what he had, 52 home runs,
something crazy.
You had Stanton had like about close to 70. So now the home run ball is right back, and now folks are looking at it. Is this another wave? If baseball really stood up and said, Hank Aaron got a point, let's shut this down, do you know how much money they would lose?
Well, I think this has to do a lot with Barry. Because I think that's who this letter was partially addressed.
I can understand if it goes to Barry, but at the same time, let's just move away from who it's directed to, but let's just go into the situation of what he's saying and if baseball really took heed. Let's say if baseball just, because right now they are blackballing certain players, right? Because Roger Clemens should have been already in there, right? But he never got caught. But it was enough evidence to say you did something. And he just wheeled and dealed, used his money and his leverage, right? And contained to be a quote-unquote innocent, right? Where Andy Pettitte, well, he came out and he admitted it, but he's still a baseball darling. So in the sense of when you really want to be real, and that example that you use with the valedictorian piece, it's excellent. But I think that every single person in these leagues are doing something to get an edge, right? So when we look at baseball from the standpoint, if it really sat there and stood on their morals and said, you know what, we are going to take a stand, and we're not going to even allow guys like Alex Rodriguez to even make money and benefit off of baseball after the fact, because he's still benefiting off baseball. He is now one of their prime analysts. Like, he's one of their superstar analysts.
Yeah, women like to look at him, and he was a Yankee.
And at the same time, it's a win-win for baseball because people are tuning in, right? Yeah. So when you got those kind of folks that are in your sport, and it's a sport that kind of lacks more star power than it has in the past currently, you have to really say to yourself that it's all about money, and gradually this will never change, because taking away these players would take away a lot of long-term, long-range money that baseball wants to collect. Baseball wants to use these jerseys, because when we talk about saying cut these Negroes or cut these white boys or cut these Dominican, whatever, whoever. Yeah,
this is one of the rare cases where it's not us.
Exactly. It's a little bit of everything.
This is one of the cases
right?
where
it's a little bit of everything. It's like everybody gets it was a
most
good
common name in baseball is Martinez.
Yeah, it's a good diversity pot of fuckery.
Yeah,
right?
Ain't us for
Think about how much merch money they would lose, right? Think about how much Hall of Fame kind of, when they put out the Hall of Fame, how much advertisement they would lose for that. Baseball, they couldn't sell any of the memorabilia from these guys because they would no longer even exist.
Yeah, okay, so if the case of, and again, there was the big steroid, quote-unquote, era, but it just shifted. What was steroids in the Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire era shifted over to the Balco scandal. You just give it a different name, but it's always been a steroid
just
era.
Like with marijuana is now cannabis.
Yeah, so if everybody was doing it for the culture, that was the culture of the Major League Baseball at the time. That's how you compete. And keep it real, because a lot of people forget about this. You got a lot of steroid-induced batters who were swinging from balls thrown by steroid-induced pitchers.
Yeah.
Because everybody likes to think that, it's just the home run guys. No, a lot of these dudes figured they had to compete with these steroid.
I just said it.
Well, no, but I'm saying.
Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte.
Yeah, but a lot of people, when they equate steroid-using baseball players, they always think of the home run batters as opposed to the steroid pitchers. So it's a culture. So it's not like it's just this, one-sided thing. It's in order for some guys to compete, it's like he's throwing 101 mile per hour fastball because he juicing. So for me to get these, I might not even try to be a home run, champion. I'm just trying to keep my job.
Yeah.
Because if I'm competing at my natural level against a dude who's got an enhanced benefit, I'm going to be out of here. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of dudes who were taking steroids who weren't names you've ever heard of, or like on that, not associated with steroids, and they weren't even that good.
Yeah.
But they needed steroids just to compete and be not that good. Because if they were they were using it themselves, they weren't using it, they would have been out the league. But if that's part of the culture, and part of the culture has you on some bullshit, that seems to be a theme that carries over into all aspects of life, you would think, in 2017. Because doing it for the culture is nothing positive right now. You got right now, I want to make sure that I quoted it, because I didn't want to paraphrase this. Because if this is not the epitome of the culture right now of 2017, and pardon the language.
We can curse on this.
I know, but just I preface that. Because he is damn sure setting the tone. So I did try to fuck her. She was married. I moved on her like a bitch. But I couldn't get there. I just start kissing them. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Drum roll, please.
The 45th president of these here United States,
AKA the Pussy Grabber.
Damn sure if everybody ain't doing it for the culture. If this is from the current sitting president of the United States, this is what was released prior to his election. Like this came out before he won the election. And if they always say that leadership starts at the top, you've got all the senators, the Senate seats running, the governors. You've got all these politicians across the board. They even were talking about Biden running in 2020. Obama's old. Till the video surfaced yesterday of him pressing up on this little girl. Mm-hmm. There was a photo op where he's pulling the girl close. In case you haven't seen it, you can catch it on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Or he's pulling this young lady close to him to take the picture. And as she kind of leans forward to do something, he gets all up close, sniffing her hair in the back of her neck, looking like a straight creeper. That is obviously the culture of American politics and how we move it. So when the culture is some bullshit, like doing the wrong thing is the thing. Being a creeper in the room is the move.
Fake it, take it, or make it. You have 3 options. So, the funny thing about this story, I remember when I was a young lad, probably was 97. I used to, with my daughter's mom's stepfather, he used to always have me work with him. It was somewhere far off in Santa Rosa, deep off into the woods, right? It was just this encampment that these politicians would used to come to, like senators, governor, all type of folks, right? And I remember waking up one day, right? Me just seeing all these white dudes and just kind of just having their moment. And I remember waking up one morning and I just saw like all type of bottles and wine and whoop-de-whoop. And remember watching when I actually in the nighttime when I was watching this caravan just kind of leave out the crib, right? And then asking the step pops like, yo, I was hearing all kind of, partying and I heard some girls and last time I remember there was no girls that came, right?
Yeah.
It's like they bring what they need to bring to get the party started. So when I said like, what? They bring in the professionals, right? So when I saw and heard and witnessed that in 97, right? And of course, later down the line, you hear about the Oval Office incident with Monica and Bill Clinton.
Go ahead and hold this cigar real quick.
Yeah. You realize, and then you even go back to check out Kennedy and his whole Marilyn Monroe situation. And then even looking at incidents of our own great black leader, Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
And I say that because, in a sense, he was moving in political circles, right?
Yeah.
Moving the civil rights movement. Men are men. It doesn't matter what position you hold. It's just a position of power that gives you more access and makes you feel that you're above the law, that no one will pay attention. Why? Because we idol worship and we want to put people on a pedestal to make them or make us believe that they're perfect and they can do no wrong because they're these positions that require certain things that a lot of us feel that we cannot obtain. And I think that when we elected, because I'm going to say we, because America, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to...
All that, he's not my president.
Nah, it's bullshit. He's your president. I mean, I understand what y'all feeling. But he's the...
If the last one was, this one is.
Yeah, the pussy grabber is your president, right? Yeah, I mean,
44 was Barry was yours.
All right.
Donnie's yours, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one, this ain't nothing new, right? No. This is just now that we have more access to be able to get these motherfuckers cold turkey. Side chicks don't play their role no more.
No.
And everybody's trying to find a paycheck. As I will state this again, fake it, take it, or make it. 3 rules in life, and you got to figure out what you're going to play. And a lot of what's going on is folks is utilizing what their voice is and utilizing the fact that they don't have to go to some big newsreel or some type of station news broadcast to kind of put out their story. They can put out their story by themselves and get wind.
Okay, so if we shifting from where it's a power position, when we talk about the culture of wherever it is that you're at for how folks is moving, because something interesting came up on the music side of the game with rapper 21 Savage.
Okay.
So
20 going all over the place. 21 Savage?
No, because it was an interesting point. We're talking about
45 and 21 Savage.
Yeah, the culture of what you're growing up in. Because he got into an online discussion what he was referring to the old heads when it came to hip hop about what the younger culture is now. And his thing was, your culture was a culture of drug dealers. Hip hop now is a culture of drug users. So when you grow up in a culture, because if you're in one culture where people have power and influence, that you can kind of come and go as you please. But if you're now in another culture of we the same generation of, we grew up, there was Ice-T, there was Too Short, who was talking about pimping and hoeing. Everybody's talking about pimping. You can put on some Rapid Forte. These people's talking about pimping. Sugar Wolf Pimp.
Sugar Free.
Yeah. So now it would only make sense
E40.
that in a generation of pimping, you would have a generation of hoes. that you have a bunch of young girls who are out there hoeing. Because the sons of, you know what I mean? If you teach pimping, you got hoeing. Yeah. If you had a generation where you're teaching, all you're promoting is drug selling, drug dealing.
Yeah. Eventually, it will.
You're going to have a generation of drug users.
So, makes sense.
So when we talk about, these cultures,
I'd rather be on the side of the drug dealing. Than
yeah, but I mean, but so we look at these.
Regardless of what he says, being a dope fiend is never going to be okay with.
Well, I don't think his was necessarily promoting it.
Yeah,
it was more so explaining it. Of, why is this drug addict culture so big amongst young people in music? He said, well, all our daddies did was talk about selling dope.
Man.
So you got to sell to somebody. Yeah.
And I think, and then this goes into you paying attention to what you see as the example compared to what you are told not to do, right? Yeah. And I think that has always fallen into a trap of the black community.
Children do what they see, not what they hear. Yeah.
You talking that shit to me, but I'm watching you.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs, but you're doing it. Don't smoke weed, but you're smoking it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't come home late at night, but you're coming home at 3 or 4 in the morning and you're smelling like that shit. So I think that when you set that bar to that angle, 21 Savage, I got to give him his credit for even articulating something that really, when you look at it, it makes sense. It really makes sense. And I think sometimes we try to equate so much of a complex view about why this is happening. Yeah. That's the exact reason why.
And something that I was looking at, and I didn't think about it until I was kind of looking at the stories. I've known a drug dealer too in my day, but most drug dealers don't hang out with a lot of drug dealers. What you find is that you'll find a lot of drug dealers are more surrounded by drug addicts. Mm-hmm. So if you are, say you're a drug dealer, you're like, I told you don't do that mess because I don't do that mess. That mess is for them. Yeah, but who they see you around are drug addicts. They don't see you around drug dealers. Because like I said, most drug dealers don't run a clique of 20 dealers. There's just that just is not physically responsible, and there's going to be some issues that could probably come up. Mm-hmm. But if like everybody I see you is somebody who's coming up to your window, somebody you meeting here, somebody you doing that, like that's the environment that you've created. That's the culture that you've put these people around. You'll find in a neighborhood there's more fiends than dealers.
Man.
Ain't enough money to go around.
And then the reason why drug dealers don't hang out with a group of drug dealers is that you're my competition.
Yeah, you're gonna rob me or try to kill me. So see what I'm saying? So for a generation that was like did nothing but talk about selling dope for a strong 15 years. Like it was a hard campaign for a straight 15 years.
We had some real songs.
So now you got all these rappers who are now 50 or in that 44 to 50 range, whose kids are now 20, 21, 22, 23, 21 Savage. Of a whole culture of now being a junkie is not even a negative thing because it's a culture. Everybody's talking about getting high. Percocets, Molly Percocet. Everybody's stipping lean. All this other stuff. You've created a culture to where being fucked up is the norm.
Annex.
How do we start shifting out of, because it's not a behavior, it's a culture. Because I use the word for its intent that we talk about certain things that are going on in a community, and we talk about things that we don't like that we see like it's an isolated incident. Like, you talk those politicians with all these sexual misconduct scandals, because that's a culture. Yeah. That's how everybody rolls. Yeah. So it's not like I'm going after this one dude for this one thing one time. So when we have issues within our community, issues with drugs, issues with pedophilia in the community, sex trafficking in the community, all that stuff, there are cultures that have been created that we have to dismantle. So when it comes to changing some of those behaviors, what are some of the things that maybe we could start? How do you shift out? How do you change a culture?
You got to create another culture. And I think that's one of the hardest pieces that relatively as a black man, where your masculinity is being attacked, your pride is being attacked, your culture is being attacked on all levels, and there's such a point to where it's confusion when you're getting older, but that good melanin don't make you look older. Yeah. but age-wise, you're getting older, but you can still run with the young guns, right? And the same in every aspect of the way. But I think that because we haven't had enough G's transfer into certain things, I would look at it like Jay-Z is a good example of being able to, all right, he was the street dude, came corporate, and then all of a sudden came to become his own entity, right? That's a good example. Even though he still, he can.
It's not perfect, but
he can waver from here there, but you can see his stances, and even in the sense of how he's making money off of other things, not particularly music. Like that music is just, okay, I'll do that just to keep some fans, clapping.
Yeah, the bulk of Jay-Z's money does not come from music.
And then in reality, do a tour, get some money off that. But the reality is I got my hands in, and really I'm doing some innovative stuff, like really focusing on some powerful documentaries and deals.
Jay-Z got his hands deep in a lot of things. Yeah, if you haven't heard about him yet, you will over the next 2 to 3
Rock
years.
Nation,
like, he's got
sports agency. So it's about really a lot of black empowerment. That transition to me is dope. The other transitions that I have I'm hard of dealing with is like certain transitions where other artists that, they may be making those power moves, but they look exactly similar to what they look like when I was coming up at 16, 19 years old, right?
Okay.
And their lyrics are the exact same way, right?
Todd Shaw has never switched it up. If you listen to a Too Short album in 1986 versus the album he dropped in 2016, the beats, like the beats have changed a little bit with the times, just because the beats. But
it's still similar.
You know what I'm saying? The beats per minute, that sort of stuff. But if you removed the music and you did an instrumental from a Too Short album, from any of his last 5 albums, from his first 1 or 2, you getting the same Todd Shaw.
Like Blow the Whistle. Okay, it's more up tempo, but you got curse words. You know what I'm saying? It's all the same element, right?
Yeah, you Born to Mac. If you all you have to do is change the beats.
One of my favorite albums ever.
Would be contemporary Too Short.
Yeah,
like there's not Life Is Too Short would still play the same.
And to be honest with you, really listening to songs, albums like Short Dogs in the House. Shouts out to Too Short anyway.
Yeah.
I would think and argue that he was more conscious and had more relative material that spoke
money
more
in the ghetto.
Yeah, realism instead of just all of the shake your ass and make that money. He kind of actually balanced it out, and that's why I loved hip hop from the era that we came from compared to the era right now.
I think a lot of people don't remember that first out. They used to have he had a dirty side and a clean side. Mm-hmm. So if you go back, it was cassettes. If you're younger, you don't even know what sides are.
No,
but
A and B, motherfucker.
The one side of the cassette was the dirty songs. That was all cuss whatever, and then the B side was all clean. You could play it with grandma.
White cassette
too. You could play it with grandma in the room.
Yeah,
she may not like some of the content, but there was no vulgar words or anything used involved. But so when we have to create a brand new culture to get out of some of these situations that we're in, we've got issues to where, say we got drugs and violence as a problem. We've got people who are abusing power as a form of their culture. We have people who are getting unfair advantages because they're working within a system that allows it. Mm-hmm. If we're trying to create a new culture, where would you say that starts?
It has to start with self, man. It has to always start with self. I think you start with self, then you work in home, and then you start trying to navigate that to the community. It has to start with self first.
So right now, we've got, because I think that's important to be solution oriented.
Yeah. And
so it's because it's one thing anybody can go down and give a grocery list of what they feel is wrong with the world today. Mm-hmm. Like that's not difficult. If your eyes work or your ears work, you can see the problems in front of you.
In that grocery bag, can you cook something out of that?
Yeah, is there something that can be used? And I like no reference to Kevin Hart's stand-up, but I like the what now philosophy. Yeah. So okay, I get that there's abuse here, there's this there, but what now? Mm-hmm. What do we do now? So when we're trying to change a culture that didn't happen overnight. The community situation, drug community, abuse, all that. None of this stuff this is not a 2017 problem. No. A lot of this stuff been in the makings for a minute. what do we say to the folks out there who are like, my kid is 13? You know, if this is a culture that they've come up in for 13, do I cut my losses and just double down on the 6-year-old?
Some folks
you know what I'm saying? Or is this something like, what can I do? My 13-year-old at crazy. I've got 5 years left of being responsible for him. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're 17 and I can just ride him out till his next birthday. I got 5 years left to deal with it. You know, you work a lot with kids, so that's why I thought that.
And because I look at everything that goes on, and I use my own self as an example. Like, I used to be that guy. Like, I remember there was times I got high. I was drunker than a motherfucker, right? There's times I used to be in the clubs fighting. There used to be times I used to be in the club spending. And used to be the time I used to be chasing women from state to state. Maybe still do that a little bit. But what I'm saying is, just joking, folks.
That's it.
But there has been a time where I used to call myself Smooth B 24-hour hustler. Now I'm back to Barry Accius. So I know that change can be implemented, but it's one, I took a look in the mirror. Shouts out to my brother Coco Greer. We used to say, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what kind of Negro do you want to be? And I had to ask myself, what do I see myself being in 5 to 10 years? Like, this is not going to be a retirement plan. Like, if I am who I am right now, there is no way this is going to end up right. Or I'm going to have to be comfortable with what life gives me if I don't change. And that could happen from a standpoint of something happened to my daughter. Now my daughter is 19-year-old pregnant. My daughter is 21 with 2 jobs in college. Yeah. So I got to help create a better standing of living so her percentage of success can be greater, because I have to change my tune, and at the same time be an example for the young people when they're going through the hardships and struggles, to not, one, identify to what they're going through and not block it off like, y'all motherfucker, get your shit straight. Because I understand it's a whole different ball game when you're in it than when you're out. But recognizing and being able to give examples by showing them a clear definition of what a real model is, not a role model, that a person that has gone through the strife and is a living example of what it looks like to be a transformation of your real self. And I think that we have less of those examples compared to everyone wants to be perfect in the eye view, and everyone is so quick to go run to temptation and not have a moral lens and think like, God dang, all eyes are watching me. One example I use is I am around a lot of young women, right? Yeah. A lot of young women. And me being a very promiscuous male in my younger years, of course I was a young black kid. One girl tell me I'm fine. I'm thinking I'm Superman, right? I'm out there. I was an out there dude. You want to call me a player in the day? That's what I was, right? But now understanding the level of responsibility I have, right? And the fact that I have a young daughter that looks at me and says, okay, this is my father, an example. I would never date a girl that was 21. I would never date a girl that was 24, 25. You understand what I'm saying? There's a moral compass and an idea of thinking like, all eyes are watching me. I'm mentoring these kids, or even pushing up on a 17-year-old who's impressionable, who might be, hey, Mr. Accius, there is no goddamn way. And when I watch some of my brothers fall for the okie-doke or the banana in the tailpipe, I ask myself, what kind of conversation or what kind of accountability partners do they have around them to keep them in a position to where they understand, even when no one's around, right? When it's you and her, just because there ain't no one watching, but there's someone always watching, you're going to make the right decisions. I have, for myself, made it a point to make sure that I level myself out, keep some accountability partners, and constantly check myself to make sure that I don't fall into any of those weak moments. Because, guys will make that excuse, I had a weak moment. Yeah. No, motherfucker, you're a predator. You're a pedophile. So in a sense of just realizing the responsibility that I have, as well as all the things I lose if I get caught doing this shit that's going to last me 5 minutes.
Okay, so is something I was thinking what you said is it because we have a culture of everybody who wants to be perfect? Or is it because we have a culture of everyone who's fucking up?
When I say perfect, bro, you know why I say perfect? Well,
just to clarify, because I see a lot of people that act like they don't have dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I I mean, so I get in that respect of the perfect part. But what I mean in the culture of people who are fucking up, I don't think a lot of people, we've removed ourselves from a judgment-based like culture, in the sense of anything that you say somebody's doing wrong, you're shaming them. Like, don't hoe shame me. Don't slut shame me. Don't. So we've got ourselves
set ourselves up
in a place to where you can't say anything about somebody else's behavior because that is in some way, shape, or form shaming them. And then well, you're not perfect, like that sort of thing. So that's why I say when everybody's fucking up, it's almost like we have a society now to where it's like, because you did that, you can't tell me nothing about anything.
You're right.
So if we as a society have created that type of environment, do people think there's anything wrong? You know what I'm saying?
I know, I get what you're saying, but I guess when I use the word perfect in a sense of, I think that sometimes we relish and we idol worship so to the point with these individuals, because let's say I had a talent in music, right? And singing, and hopefully we'll get to that singing piece that we're going to talk about as well. And I had that voice, but that person got there, right? The person made it, right? Yeah. And I did it. I'm worshiping and idolizing that person because they made it. So I'm thinking that, damn, whatever that person had, I don't have. But the reality is that an opportunity came and that person was in the right position. Yeah. And a little bit of luck, right? Maybe I didn't have those things. Maybe I didn't have that opportunity. Some folks will really believe that folks got there because they got more talent than me. No. Life is about opportunity and sometimes luck. Rolling the dice. And how much grind you ready to put and consistency are you going to put into things that you're doing, right?
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
All the time, right? So when we look at some of these folks, like, for instance, we had a conversation about running for office and me thinking about, okay, what would it look if I ran for city council, right? I'm not running, but I'm saying, what would it look like? The first thing in my mind is doubt in a sense of, well, that person may be smarter than me. Well, that person may have more money than me. Well, that person is more fit for the job. Why? Like, why do I think that already? Yeah. Right? I may not have more money, but I probably know a lot more to work in a certain community that I choose to say, yeah, I can run for that. But already, because I'm looking at the job and I'm like, whoa, look at this guy who's propped up with a suit and a tie. He has to probably have a perfect kind of lifestyle, when in reality, that's just a propped up image. We get so focused and caught up on imagery and what folks will perceive and show us. And because in details, like when you talk about police brutality, folks don't want to believe in that. Why? Because they think police who get hired or go through the training, they're trained properly. They live by this code of ethics. Yeah. That there's no way that these cops with badges would do anything incorrect to society. But here's a blurb.
A lot of officers in different departments in different cities.
Exactly.
You got no business working there.
For real. But here's a blurb and here's a life alert, right? Yeah. Here's one of my things I like to call a life alert. That motherfucker bleeds and breathes just like you. Yeah. So the fact that we try to create this perfection in imperfect people has kind of come to a fault to why now I think that these idols are falling down, because folks are now finding out and figuring out, wait a minute, that motherfucker ain't shit. Like when we talk about it every day about these athletes, just because that motherfucker make a lot more money than me, girl, you think that you're going to get better treatment? You probably should come with me because you'll probably get more for your buck than the guy that's running around here with millions of dollars.
Got you in rotation. Because I think that, so going along with that is that, yes, there's a perception that if somebody is successful, that being good at a particular skill or having a particular job some way equates to you being a better person.
Yes.
I know that society has that, well, he's rich, so he wouldn't, or he's a doctor, why would he this?
Exactly.
He's,
he's a lawyer.
My uncle.
He couldn't be an alcoholic.
Yeah, I got an uncle who he runs this big, huge psychiatric ward in the Eastern Seaboard, genius therapist. All his clients are like, if the governor needs somebody to talk to, they talk to him. Like he wrote a lot of papers, published and stuff. Real smart guy. Everybody who's at his level, drug addicts, cheating on their wives. It's the culture.
More money, more access,
gambling
more
addicts,
more struggle.
Like I ain't talking about his hospital. I ain't talking about his
disclaimer
hospital.
on that,
I
dog.
ain't talking about his hospital. On that level of achievement, you know, you're published. You know, you got a string of letters after your name. You're well respected.
Yeah.
At that level, you're making well into six figures, possibly seven every year.
Just even going from what you said, you know, you got a lot of what you say, letters behind your name.
Yeah, string of letters after your name. Yeah.
You know, if you hear a person's a doctor, you automatically think that person's the smartest person in the room.
Because there's this misconception of the fact that, well, you had to be consistent, you had to be diligent, you had to have determination, you had to have willpower, restraint, all these things to get through 12 years of school and internship. Yeah. You had to go through all. You can't just be all over the place and do something very specified. If I told somebody that, if you said this is Jim and Jim's a neurosurgeon, part of you is going to believe that Jim must be very disciplined to be a really good neurosurgeon. Meanwhile, Jim is beating his wife, sleeping with his daughter's best friend. Like, you know, Jim is all out of pocket because his profession has nothing to do with his personality. You know, his occupation has nothing to do with his character. And I think that we give a lot of credit to those people because we've created a society and a culture that somehow believes that your income has something to do with who's inside.
Exactly.
And the two don't go together. But what I'm looking at is if we're now in a position to where we're saying we're giving these passes because we do as a society. We give these passes. And you got all these stars now who are starting to topple because these allegations are coming out. And we addressed that last week. I think this has a lot more to do with positioning than it does necessarily all these people moral compass pointing north. I think I'm a firm believer this is a lot of corporate roster changes. And there's a lot of folks on the stand like Nino Brown talking about it wasn't me or it wasn't just me.
Because they want to create a culture change.
Yeah, they want to shift that old regime out. So is that the type of mentality we have to take within our families, the way we address our relatives, the way we address our friends in our communities, that we have to be at an all-out culture change? That we have to sit there and say, I know granddad's been the patriarch. I know Big Mama's been the matriarch of the family. But the way she's been doing it, Uncle Clarence still gets to come around when you know he done touched cousins and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So-and-so needs to do we just need to topple the entire way that we deal with family stuff? Topple the whole way that we address community stuff? Like, because in order to be a culture change, if where we're at now, that requires getting rid of a certain percentage of people. Hollywood is doing that with their execs now.
Yeah, but you got to remember, first of all, they're not doing that with the execs because they haven't. No one. The pressure's on, right? But I want to see the effects in 2 years.
Well, I'm referring to going after them and publicly calling them out.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we don't do that as a culture within. R. Kelly can walk the streets just as easily as George Zimmerman.
Well, right now, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
R. Kelly is on Chris Brown's new album.
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone's dancing to it,
I'm saying we don't come for the folks that's what I mean, like the execs coming for them.
Yeah.
Like pulling them out, calling them out, putting the spotlight on them, and addressing what they're doing.
Exactly, they're called out and it's being addressed. But again, I'm saying long-term situation after the trend is over, because this is right now trending. Yeah. I think everything falls into a trend. You know, we have a drug using culture trending. We have now sexual and pedophiles trending. We have a culture where it's like, oh my God, prostitution is almost seen like a regular job. Trend. Yeah. All these things are trending. So what ends up happening 2 to 3 years after the fact, right? Because I know and you know that folks don't move certain people in the household because, again, when someone's being abused, sometimes the abuse is not necessarily about the physical or the mental. It's the fact that that person is not equipped to leave that person because where are they going to go? Yeah. Financially, they're stuck with that person, right? Yeah. Because they don't have, whether it's a good enough job or they don't have the capability to be on their own because they have never been on their own. So the reality is, how do we shift? How do we change this culture? Do we move certain pieces out of the room? Are you willing to go through the shit of almost homelessness, because this shit is real critical right now.
That's what I'm saying.
This shit is heavy because as the world continues to grow faster, and you use that piece of, cats are getting older, like, okay, now when I could have left and had a 1-bedroom for $800, now in just a simple area like Sacramento, right, where there's not too much going on, but there's a little few things happening, now something is like $1,100. That's now out of my affordable range.
I can't afford to be alone.
You can't, right? Where car notes is going on $400, where now they're going to put scanners on certain police cars to where they can see if you're an insured driver.
Yeah.
I mean, these different things. Shoot, you can't even in Sacramento panhandle without being fined, right? It's these different things that are constantly going on, and you're going to have the cultivation of marijuana in this community, and how much crime will that bring, or how much money will that bring, and how much money will the black people be involved in that process? So there's all these different things that are constantly pulling to you, right? Do you start picking at people that might be the breadwinners? Now you start talking about, okay, well, Uncle Joe,
Uncle Joe pays a third of the rent.
Exactly. Yeah. We know what he did to Sydney, but Uncle Joe, this is his house that I'm living in, and he got grandma in my house. What do you do? That's
my point. I'm saying, so when we're looking at these changes, because at this stage now we have to be real with the fact we have some systemic changes that need to happen.
Oh, most definitely.
Like we have some cultural changes that need to, the baby mama, baby daddy culture needs to change. In the sense of baby mama, baby daddy is an accepted relationship status.
Yeah.
Who's that? That's my baby mama. What does that even mean? Y'all together? Y'all fiance dating, still live together? No, that's just
like I'm gonna have a baby and we are not gonna last. Matter of fact, we won't even live with each other. You're just gonna have my child. You're gonna be in your place and I'm gonna be in my place.
That's a culture. Like that baby mama, baby daddy is a culture. It is an acceptable. There's not. Once upon a time it wasn't, because there was shame. There was shame associated with not marrying the girl or not being married to the man.
So here's the point. There is not enough shame put on to all the things that we're talking about.
I am a firm believer in shame.
As you say, we're shaming folks for whatever. There's not enough shame.
I think behavior should be shamed.
Because at the end of the day,
I truly do.
No, seriously.
No, I'm serious. I think
you're totally right. Because like my whole thing is that just for myself as a grown man, I'm not going to the club knowing that my 21-year-old daughter and her girlfriends that I call some of them are my daughter are going to be there. Like, what do I have business being in the same position that they're in? The same club? There's no way. Even though I don't go clubbing, right? Yeah. That to me is shameful, right? It's shameful for me if I was a grown man and I didn't have my own shit, right? Didn't have my own car, didn't have some kind of business or some kind of profession or whatever I need.
I can't be self-sustained.
I just can't be smoking weed, playing the game on the block, and thinking about what drink I'm finna get for Friday night.
My place to live is contingent on her paying the rent.
Or at the same time, I'm living with a relative or a parent, but it's not for no ends of means. When I mean by that, I don't mind. I think that black folk need to be living with each other more often if there's going to be an end result, right?
It's just open-ended. Until
we gonna get a house. Like if me and my brother moved in, that would be strictly on business purposes, right? Yeah. That would be strict. And on top of that, we ain't gonna be looking at each other all day because you got your shit and I got my shit, but we're going to get more shit. That's strategic planning. But the shame of what these people do, it's almost again trending. We're going to talk about it, and I guarantee you, I won't put no guarantees, but I wouldn't be surprised when Harvey Weinstein makes a 5-year comeback.
Oh yeah, to me with those execs, they're going to shift some of the older heads out. The older regime will shift out, and realistically, that won't change. I mean, like the change will stick because of their age. Yeah. So they're going after people. You have to remember too. A lot of these accusations of these people, some of these dudes are well over 70. Yeah. So
they about to die.
Yeah, I'm saying you're all it is a justified reason to remove somebody from their position that you don't have to pay them accordingly. Yeah. That's what I mean. A corporate roster change. You're going to remove some folks from their executive spot, and you don't have to golden parachute them because of what they did and the reason why they were removed. So it's a money thing.
Yeah, and I look at that, and it's just even using it, like just thinking about it in my head real quick. The fact that Charles Manson died.
Yeah.
Folks really giving a damn about it. I mean, black folks commenting like, who gives a shit?
I care that Earl Hyman died and that Della Reese died.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who gives a shit? Let this motherfucker die. And why are we creating the energy to even discuss this guy as if he was some iconic figure? This dude's a murderer.
They should have threw the switch on.
Right? So it's like, so the shame of it, right? O.J. Simpson, he gets out of freaking prison. And guess what? He has ESPN right there, CNN right there. For the love of God, at his probation hearing, there was news right there. Where's the shame in that?
It was about as big as the LeBron decision when OJ got paroled.
Donald Trump, the dude. Let's go into his week. He went from I helped those young men who were idiots for stealing in China to where I'm attacking Marshawn Lynch because he sat down to calling out one of the boys' father, Mr. Ball, and giving him more praise and fame, and finally coming out with Roy Moore and not denouncing him, but pretty much supporting him. And this dude, Roy Moore, is being... he doesn't not only have sexual allegations, but he got pedophilia allegations. It's kind of crazy.
Well, you remember, this is the same...
Where's the shame?
Well, he got the cosign from the president who got 12 pending rape cases.
Oh, but see, that's another thing. There is no shame. Right?
Whatsoever.
There's no shame into, all right, these mofos are doing A, B, C, and D, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, and this is the thing about with common folk, you and I, we don't have that money to pay out our shame, right? Yeah. If you were caught, right, with a 5-year-old, you're never going to see the light of day. It's like these motherfuckers get caught with a 5-year-old. Well, there's some kind of explanation to this shit.
He came over looking for candy.
This shit is crazy. There's no shame. For the simple fact that we have our president of the United States going after some guys that play sports, and you just finally, because folks are chittering and chattering and say, you got to say something about this Roy Moore thing, right? Okay, well, because I need Alabama, so I'm for sure not going to sit there and throw him under the bus. You again, when the moment for you to sit there and say, these are shameful, I will not be affiliated or associated.
Call him the SOB that he called the anthem protesters.
You are more... Right. You are more openly defiant against black men, right? Yeah. And black women that are standing up against oppression, injustice, and constantly trying to create this narrative of a flag and all these other things where, okay, the kids said thank you. Why do you care what the hell the father says, right? Yeah. Why? Because he's a now public figure. So I got to go after the Ball father because that's just only right. You care more about that when there's enslavement going on in Libya and you have, the North Korea piece, and then at the same time, we still have the Russia scandal over your head. You finally want to sit there and try to justify behavior from a man where you should be denouncing when you're denouncing everybody else and challenging everybody else.
The North Korea thing is two folks who are having a pissing contest with each other. The Russian situation, that's the homie that helped him get his job. And the Libyan situation, without going too deep, America created part of that problem.
Yes.
And so the reason why, because I've seen a bunch of the social media posts and stuff, and they talk about, well, how come America has not made its case on that?
They've already gone.
Well, what a lot of people don't remember, the reason why the current situation is there in Libya is because America helped remove the previous leader and regime.
Gaddafi.
Yeah, so Muammar Gaddafi was there, and in 2011, they implemented getting rid of him and opened the door up for the issues that they have now. They didn't care about the betterment of Libya. They just didn't like the policy that Gaddafi was running and what his big picture plan was. And he's the dude, he was worth like $200 billion. Like he was, and what he was doing for his nation and what they wanted to do with the unified currency for Africa. Or for some folks that may not.
No. I'm just saying, like
so they wanted to have the dinar, one universal currency for Africa, which is going to be based off of gold. Mm-hmm. All this paper this fiat currency we just print up in America was going to be worthless. If you didn't have gold, you couldn't play. Mm-hmm. And Africa was going to set the price for the gold standard and how money was going to move. It was going to make the continent of Africa the base for a global economy. You won't have to go through Africa to do business. And what the plan was one unified dollar, one unified currency, and ultimately a unification of the continent, and removing all the colonization that had been happening in that continent for centuries. This whole plan, by one unified currency, would have bankrupted Europe and the United States damn near instantly, because there's no place has more gold in the than Africa. So he had to go. So so he had to go. So they removed him and opened up the door for the next regime that came in, and then all hell broke loose. Like I said, that's why America's not involved. It's because America does not care, because America is a culture of money. It's about the almighty dollar, not the betterment of human beings or human life or human value. Just if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So now the new regime doesn't care about that stuff. Doesn't care about the economy and this and that, whatever. So they can treat their people however they want. That's why America don't care about what's going on over there.
Everybody in these moments right now are guilty in some kind of play in this, right?
Yeah.
The unfortunate part of the victims, you get it, but then the frustration from my angle is like, these things happen and you were afraid, but you didn't speak up until now because other folks was coming out, but it kind of benefited you that you didn't talk, because a lot of these folks that have brought some of them, I'm talking about more some of the higher echelons of actresses or actors that are moving forward, they have become gold because of the status, right? And that's not not victim shaming at all, but it just, in particular, like, you have Corey Feldman that spoke up. You're out. Blackball him. You know what I'm saying? You had him, and you saw where his career went from where we thought, like, well, he just kind of fell off. No, it's because he knew a lot of different things, and this is how the circle is going to, move around.
Partially was the blackballing factor. The other part was he was abused so much he didn't want no part of it.
Yeah, and then even when you look at the music industry, I remember Raz B, who's come out,
which is a very interesting point. Comedian D. Ray Davis had posted something about a week and a half ago, and he said, I wonder if anybody believes Raz B now.
Yeah, and this is what ends up happening. And when I've always stood on the stance of, I am not at all bigging up or defending Bill Cosby. Never was. 61 women, someone's got some valid story, right? Yeah. Not saying all, but someone got some valid story. But for the fact that you guys was thinking, like, Bill Cosby came up with this shit by himself, right? Yeah. Like, we know the circle Bill Cosby was running in, after a while. After a while, when you see culture, dog, it's just like living in the hood. The fact that you're not hood is like, whoa, okay, so
I Spy was a game changer.
Right, you know what I'm saying? How did that not? Well, my mom had me at the house. She had me playing ball over in this area. I had these games that she kind of had me going to. She always brought me, or my dad was around. It's really hard to have a child not become a part of their environment, right? So in this culture, when you see it from a perspective of Bill Cosby, he's seeing all his white friends. Hey, bro, you ain't used one of these roofies? Like, what's this? Oh, man. Like, I got influenced by the people around in my culture. I never smoked weed in my freaking life until what? One of my friends brought me over to this place over here in what's freaking Mendocino, and popped off this big ass joint, and I got higher than a kite. And next thing you know, I was going to be on my 3-year high life for that many moons, right? But at the same particular time, when you look at what's happening right now, it's hard for someone to say, denounce the culture, when all you see around you is that, right? You get influenced by what you're around and surrounded by. It's hard for some folks, as we talked about the steroid era earlier, right? Okay, this motherfucker just got $100 million contract, right? And I know he's juicing, right? Yeah. And my stats are, I got 30, 25 home runs. He just hit 60, and he got that new contract. He's set. I'm going to go juice too to get 75, because I'm already a better player than him.
Yeah.
So it's the culture that you're involved in. It creates that monster of you just trying to really survive. And I think sometimes it becomes the norm. That was a Hollywood norm. That is a music industry norm. You know how many stories we've heard that has been kind of brushed under the rug, but now we're seeing it like, maybe that is true.
Yeah.
Because they live in this lawless kind of society that people feel that they can do no wrong, and that their talents always overlook the real true individual.
I think that a lot of times you find these folks who have a talent or an ability, and sometimes they just find themselves in deep water. You get yourself in a position that you wasn't prepared for. You get yourself around some stuff and it's new to you. Like I said, a culture change, and you start seeing how people are moving and operating, and you try to get out there too. And some folks aren't built for it. And so you get these folks who's, I'm going to act like the guy to the left and the guy to the right, but you ain't built like the guy to the left and the guy to the right, and you get caught up and you get caught out there. As you start looking at trying to change culture, and you're trying to change the environment that you're in, I agree with you in the sense that first you have to start with yourself. That you have to sit there and say, is this road that I'm on going to get me where I want to go? Or will I end up someplace I don't want to be if I stay on it? And if we could start that as an individual and then try to, help the man to the left, help the woman to the right, we could gradually change culture. We have to be responsible in the fact of understanding that we got us here together. So we have to get ourselves out. And that we can't sit there and say that, well, it was just those people or it was just that, Ice Cube never came to my house, but I figured out a way to get a cassette of his into my bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Too Short never dropped off a CD at my doorstep, but I figured out a way to get one into my car. As time goes on, we make a lot of decisions which put us in places that, maybe we didn't plan on. And as the culture shifts, we have to take responsibility for it and then, address what's going on, do our best to change it. But that all starts with acknowledging these issues and definitely saying something.
Titles and idols have destroyed our reality. Bottom line.
That's deep.
I'm just saying.
I'm Jermaine Morris here with Barry Accius. Where can folks find you online?
Barry Accius on Twitter. Barry Accius on Facebook. Instagram at Team Voy. And, of course, blackblueprintswithaz.com. Come home and purchase something.
I'm Jermaine Morris on Facebook. Every other social media platform is at JMorrisCEO. We alluded to it during part of the show. A moment for late, great Earl Hyman. He played Granddad on The Cosby Show.
And Thundercats.
Great, he was Panthro on the Thundercats. He had a great acting career. He played in Macbeth. He was in Julius Caesar. He was a very seasoned actor in theater. He was in the game for like around 47 to 2001. He walked away from acting and kind of lived out his life. He died at 91.
That's crazy.
And then actress Della Reese. She was a singer, actress. It's funny when you see the press, because most of the white press labels her actress from Touched by an Angel. Most of us remember her from Harlem Nights.
Oh, definitely.
We're going to be some fighting mother effers in here this evening. Also, rest in peace to the moment of Christina Aguilera killing that Whitney Houston tribute at the AMAs.
Negroes, you continuously want to be in these Grammys, these Oscars, and all this stuff, and when it's time for them to call you, they never call you. I mean, come on, stop it.
I couldn't hear it.
Christina Aguilera, she is a dope singer, but wasn't Mary J. Blige, Mariah Carey, Patti LaBelle? I would have went freaking
Patty,
Beyonce, Aretha Franklin. I don't know.
I'd have went Jill Scott. I'd have taken Marsha Ambrosius.
Come on, man.
I'd have taken.
Were they not available?
Nobody.
These are the problems that we face all the time when we keep on dealing with white privilege. And the funny thing about it, they had young Ross over there as the host, right? You know what I'm saying? She was the host, and all I saw was commercials of white R&B singers, white country singers, and white rappers.
We'll get into that at another show, because that's a full show in itself.
Man, we better talk about that next week,
That's a full show in itself.
Talk about that.
I'm Jermaine Morris here with Barry Accius.
Yes, sir.
And until next show,
holla.
We will holla at you later.